Let's talk about a common sewing problem that people are always emailing me about. We're working on the Husqvarna Viking Brilliance 75Q, but this can actually apply to just about any sewing machine. So you're sewing along and you just know something doesn't sound right. It might even look okay on the top of your fabric, but you take it out and you realize you've got those big hairy loops of thread on the back of your fabric. Okay, click the like button if you've ever had this. I mean, even I'm gonna have to click it, because I, on occasion, run into this. And here's the problem. People think that because it is a underneath issue on the back side of your fabric, they go digging in their bobbin. Now, there could be a reason your bobbin thread is not in the tension, which we do have a video on how to make sure that that's in there correctly. But do you know the problem is actually on the top? So what I want you to do is just take your thread out of your machine, and we're going to just clarify. We did this in the threading video, and when we wound a bobbin at the very beginning. But this is why people have the problem. So what is happening is when you come down the first groove of your sewing machine, and before you come back up into the second one, there are two tension discs in here. Okay, so the tension discs open when the foot is up, so right now it's very open, but when the foot is down, those discs actually close. Now, on this machine, you can actually see it, so I'm going to show you. Push down on this top center area and lift up with your finger. We're going to actually look inside, and you can actually see right in here. You can do it on your own machine. It might be a little harder, but you can see that these are all loose, and then the foot goes down, and now they're squeezed on there. So what happens is if the thread isn't inside those squeezing areas, when we go to sew, that's what gives you those big loops on the back side, the nest that people always complain about. And they're like, oh, this machine. And I'm like, so it was actually you who gave you that problem because you didn't thread it correctly. Here's the easiest way to thread it to avoid any of that. Make sure your foot is up. That is number one. Number two, if you hold on to your thread at the spool and with your other hand come straight down and even up through the next level, and if you go back and forth, give it a little floss, you will find that your thread is going to get sunk all the way down in there. Here's another way to test. And you can do it once you have your thread through the needle, but I'm going to just do it right now. I'm going to lower the presser foot, and now the thread is tight. So if the foot is up, it should be loose. The foot is down, it's tight. That means you got your thread where it needs to go. So if you find yourself like that is it's happening with those big hairy, like you're sewing and then you get the hairy loops, your thread was in there mostly, and then as you sewed, it came out and then popped out of the tension disc. And that's a whole nother problem, which you might need to have checked out at your local service department, or just make sure that you got it in there all the way the first time. So if you're very dainty in your threading, that can cause problems. And so I need you to have what I call threading with purpose. And threading with purpose means that you're getting the thread placed in each of the areas that it needs to be in. Here's where it's going to be tight, because I actually just finished, and see my needle is bending. But I can tell that my thread is in the tension disc, and I'm going to have no problem whatsoever when I start to sew. So that's my little tension test, the little problem that people always talk about. They always go in their bobbin, and it's not the bobbin, it's actually the top. So just know that you need to rethread the machine. If you haven't cleaned your machine lately, make sure you check out our cleaning video. We'll put it at the end here, or click at the top corner, and then that way you can also check, have you cleaned your machine lately? Have you changed your needle? Those are all things that can also make a difference. You keep those on the up and up, and your machine is going to treat you well. Also, good quality thread is going to make a difference. So if you've got some of Grandma's old thread, it is time to kind of push it aside. Use the thread you know is a better quality. You've probably paid a little bit more for it, and that is also going to make for everything to work better. So don't give yourself the frustration that you could have avoided, and practice some of the proper threading techniques that we have shown you in this video. Hey, we've got lots of videos on this machine. If you want to master it from start to finish, click on the links below where you can start binge watching from video number 1 and learn everything about every part of this machine.